Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hello there everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a different video. I like to do these every now and again, and as we're kind of in a transitional period between seasons where I live, and I feel like I'm in a transitional period in a lot of my life, I thought it would be as good a time as ever to just sit and chat, and specifically chat about where I'm at in my practice right now. I really do like to do these check-ins every now and again. I feel like it's a good way for me to gauge where I'm at in my practice, and I also have noticed that you all seem to enjoy having a little bit more of a real conversation about what practice may look like sometimes. Besides, it has always seemed to open the door to a lot of very good conversations and topics to move forward with. And while I do tend to make these videos when I'm at a little bit of a lull in my practice, they often inspire me to push a little bit forward with it and just make me feel good about getting back into rhythm with things. So that's what I want to do today. Just kind of have a sit down, chatty video. But before we dig in, this video is sponsored, so let's hear a little bit more about that.
Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is a website building and hosting company, and as I'm currently working on putting up a website, it is very exciting to get to partner with them. With Fluid Engine, a next-generation website design system from Squarespace, it's never been easier for anyone to unlock creative design. You get to start with a best-in-class website template and customize every detail with reimagined drag-and-drop technology for desktop or mobile. You can stretch your imagination when it comes to online design with Fluid Engine, built in and ready to go on any new Squarespace site. One thing I really love about Squarespace is their flexible website template. You get to get started with one of their professional website templates with designs for every category and use case. Then customize your look, update the content, and add features to fit your unique needs. You can make any Squarespace template do what you want, so your idea, brand, or business stands out online on every device and can be as unique to you as you dream. Another thing that I really love about Squarespace is the ease of working an online store. Whether you sell physical, digital, or service products, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online. So if this sounds interesting to you, go to squarespace.com/thegreenwitch to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring, and let's get back to the video.
Alrighty, welcome back. Let's dive in. I feel like I tend to make these videos every spring, early summer. After the winter months, I feel usually pretty disconnected from my practice. I'm someone who works with nature, with plants, mostly specifically, as you know. And over the winter months, there are very few plants to work with, at least comparatively. Out here in Washington in the Pacific Northwest, where I live, there are a ton of plants that do stay alive and green through the winter. It is very much an evergreen state. That being said though, there's not a lot of biodiversity among them, and it takes a long time for summer to get here. It is just now starting, but today is another chilly day and we are in the middle of June. So while there are some flowers starting and some berries beginning to peek out, it won't really be the exciting time where everything is in bloom for a little while now. Well, this was something that was very difficult for me when I first moved here. It's something that I have been able to get a little bit more used to over the last 4 years. This will be my 4th summer here, and I would say I just got out of my 4th winter here. And while it was a very challenging one for many different reasons, I feel like this is the first year that has felt really good here, really connected. And while I do have that similar pattern of disconnect from my practice during this season, the disconnect I feel is no different from the disconnect I have always felt from that time of year, whereas previous years it has been a lot stronger. I'm now used to this time frame. In Virginia, where I grew up and where I developed my practice, I was able to start working with plants, and diverse ones, as early as April. And while there are some that pop up here early in the days then, May-ish, the fun ones don't really come out until the end of June. And it has taken a lot of getting used to for me. But I am used to it now. That being said though, there is still that shift, right? And a lot of times my practice moves in the wintertime from kind of further away from the spiritual side of things and more into the academic side of things. I study folklore, I deep dive into herbal medicine. This year I took up a particular interest in deep diving once again into botany and understanding that a little bit better, and I've really, really loved reopening my studies on that. I've had a ton of fun with that, and it has just made my brain explode. I love, love, love learning about botany. It's similar to learning how to read, in my opinion. I remember being a child and walking through the world and seeing all of these signs and things that people had understood meaning of. But to me, it just was kind of this artistic scribble. But once I learned how to read, all of a sudden I could understand all of these things around me. And botany is kind of similar. Instead of learning how to read words, you learn how to read plants. And it's just very exciting to get to see and understand the world in a deeper way like that. So even though my studies have been very academic lately, there is still a spiritual element in that sense. You deepen this connection to the world in a very beautiful way. And I've always loved how my practice shifts like this, how the winter time becomes this big area for deepening knowledge, and the summer is the time to connect again to nature. But right here, when we are on the cusp of being able to access it fully, I always just get a little bit discouraged, I think. I'm so close to it and I'm longing so much to work with it in full, but it's just not there yet. And so I kind of get disconnected from my practice a bit. And that's okay. I get questions from you all the time about how to reconnect to practice, if you're in a lull or if you've needed to take a break. And it's something I've covered over the years, but I do really like to revisit it because I think it's a question that we all come to pretty often, right? How do I get back into practice when I'm not really feeling it? And my advice always has been, take the break if you need it. And when you're ready, do the things that inspire you. And that's what I do during this time. I don't feel very connected to my practice in the winter months because much of my practice is dormant. And so I connect to the intellectual side of it, the learning side of it. And then I hit this lull period where I'm just so excited, but I can't access what I want to, so I'm taking a break. And then soon I will be able to access it in this more connected way. And while I do have a very seasonally connected practice with these very clear seasonal rhythms with how it works and moves, this can apply to just seasons of your life. And while I am someone who always says it's okay, I do think that voicing it to you all and to myself in moments like this is always very helpful for me. I've also begun quite a few new projects in my life, some more writing projects, and I am looking to be going back to school soon as well. And these are very exciting and huge shifts and things that I don't really know how they're going to fit into my practice entirely yet, but they will definitely change up how it will be. They will change up my entire life. I'm very, very excited and very, very nervous for it. I also have been thinking about doing some recompositioning within the channels, as always. I always am. But I feel like things are starting to find a rhythm again there, and that's creating something new entirely as well. Lately, I've just had a very busy life, and it has really changed how my practice moves throughout it. And I think that's kind of beautiful. But as I touched on earlier, there have also been a lot of stressors, and I think it's kind of changed a lot of things in that sense. And I've shared some of these things on my other channel, and hopefully this week or next I will be sharing another video that goes into detail about some of the other things I've been struggling with lately that have really changed my life up again, and it has taken a toll on my practice. I feel like I have kind of done this whole video going through all of these different things, but that's kind of how everything has been. Just nothing has been very stable for a very long time, and I've learned how to ride the waves, I think, but the first thing that usually falters is my practice. And that's something that I would like to make a change with, hopefully in the next year, is it becoming more of a priority of life again. But the older I get and the more my life grows, the more difficult it is for it to be a priority. It is such an individual path and something that I have to make the choice actively to maintain for myself all the time. And just the older I get, the less room there is for that, and as my life moves forward. I do feel very fortunate that this is my job, that I get to continue sharing and teaching, because it does propel me forward on my path so much. It truly always forces me to keep moving and creating and learning. And I do think that this is a lot of how I've been able to stay as deeply connected to my practice through the years as I have. I started my practice when I was very young, when I still lived with my parents. I was a teenager, and the shift from there to full-blown adulthood was a big one, and then the years that have followed as life grows just is yet another big one. It's very interesting to sit and think about. I've found myself lately a lot feeling like I have no time and trying to squeeze in little bits of things here and there, and never having the time. And I've been realizing that I haven't been choosing to make time for a lot of practice and things that I want to do. And I think I'm going to be recomposing some of my life so that I can have more time. But to some extent, practice has almost become a stressor at times, because I haven't felt like I've had the time. Now, again, to wrap it to the beginning, I think a lot of times I do feel this way this time of year, when I don't get to do the things that I want to, or if I want to, I have to kind of travel for them. And that, of course, is a bigger ask than just being able to step outside your front door. But all in all, there's just been a lot of shifts, and it's been really interesting in time. So, with all of that said, I am at a bit of a lull, and I like to check in with you guys when I am. As I said, it does usually inspire me and pushes me to get a little bit deeper into practice. It also is something that I think is a good reminder, as someone who constantly is teaching about the craft and practice and herbalism and all of these things, to say that even myself, somebody whose life and work revolves around it, has lulls. It's okay to have a lull, and I like that reminder to be on my page every now and again. Like I said, I will be talking a little bit more about some of the personal things going on in my life on my other channel if you're interested in that. But also, if you want to talk in the comments, I'll check in on them here and there. I think it's helpful for other people to hear everyone's journeys as well. And with that, thank you for joining me on this little bit of an unconventional video of sorts. You know, I have my book if you're interested in learning, if you are not in a lull, or if you want to read to get out of a lull. I will say one of my favorite ways to get out of a lull does tend to be reading a new book. It's always inspiring, so if you haven't read mine yet, there's a recommendation. And if you want to help support this channel, I have a Patreon, and I'd really appreciate it if you checked it out, if you can and would like to. There I share art, herbal profiles, book recommendations, and monthly workshops, among other things. It's a ton of fun. I really like the personal connection that I have with you all there, and it's just a very important community to me, and it is what keeps this channel and my other one running. So with that, thank you again for watching. I hope you are having a lovely day, and I can't wait to see you again soon.